Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's
It's
it going?
Monday, and Katie's back. Yay. I'm so glad.
Me too. It's very weird to be on the road. I was on the road and on a 4-day road trip to Montana to watch softball. So I don't know how clear I was about that, but my daughter played for 2 years at this junior college and then was an assistant coach this year. So we were there again, and the girls, they won on this was their regional tournament. So if you win that, then you get to host supers next week, and if you win that, you go to the World Series. So they were cruising right along, and they
Sure.
won on Thursday and Friday, and they went into the regional tournament undefeated, meaning that they'd have to be beat twice in order to lose, and they lost. So
Well, it's life, right?
unfortunately, it is life. They just didn't. I don't know. You know how when you watch a team that's firing all cylinders, they really have the it thing. They did not have the it thing.
Mhm.
They did on Thursday
Mhm.
and Friday. I was like, wow, blown away by how well they played. And then on Saturday, they just didn't have it. So it's fine. Their
Right.
season, all seasons come to an end. So it's what
Right.
it is. And yes, I did get some sun, especially I wore a lot of sunblock, but I got some pretty good sun. And
You
also
did.
I bought some fancy new gin. Well,
Oh, you did? What'd you get?
Scott bought some fancy new gin. We've had a really
Mm.
cool liquor store in Billings called
Ooh.
Bottles and Shots.
Ooh, nice.
And so I was looking at this gin that I would never buy because it was way more money than I would ever spend on any alcohol, really. And Scott walks up
Mhm.
and goes, "Is that what you're looking at?" And I went, "Oh, yeah, but I'm not buying that." He bought it. So,
He's like, well, I am. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So it is called, oh, hell. It's the ultraviolet edition. I can't remember the brand. Oh,
Mm.
McQueen and something. It's this big fancy purple bottle. It's really cool. Anyway, it's hibiscus and
Mm.
berry, and I have it in sugar-free lemonade, and it is good as hell. But I figured to get through the Ian Pawlowski call today, it might call for, at least a partial drunkumentary tonight.
Yes, this would be Stella Rosa Black
Yeah, I
right
hear
here.
that. Hmm.
Because, yes, this has been a day, man.
Yeah,
We got
quite
Mel
a
P
day.
on the stand.
Wow.
Can you
Before we
believe
get
it?
there, we've already announced this in the group. Some of you guys are on Facebook with us and know, but I want to say it because you've been waiting to hear this from us. But our cousin that has been missing
Yes.
was found last Thursday in his car, and of course deceased, and which is kind of what we expected, unfortunately. But he has finally
Yeah.
been found. So those of you guys that have been with us during that journey, you know that this has been going on since November, and so lots and lots of love to his wife and kids. It's
Yeah.
been a slow build of grief for them, with this
Yeah. No
coming
kidding.
together. So, but at least they don't have to worry and wonder. I was so scared that they'd end up having to wonder for 30 years whatever happened to him, and they don't.
Me
So,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's the only thing. That's the thing that I think is so terrible for
Hmm.
families who lose a family member and they never find their body.
Yeah. So,
And we've worked on so many of those cases
yeah,
where a body was never located. And I just can't imagine what that
yeah,
must feel like for their
hmm,
whole life to
absolutely.
never know what happened.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not, you can't move on from
Not only that, our cousin was was financially hobbled until she could get a death certificate. And
that. Right.
in Utah, you can't get that for 5 years or
Yeah.
2 years. I can't remember. I think she said 5 years.
She said 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So they will finally get some closure, and our whole family will get some closure, and there will be no more searches. And it's sad. It's really, really freaking sucks. But
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful that it's over. He was in a remote place. He was actually on private property. We think he was in the very area they thought he was in. that he
Yeah.
was on private property, and so we think that's probably why no one found him because nobody was going off onto
Probably.
people's ranches and stuff looking
Yeah,
because
they were
you
looking
can.
like out in the on the public land.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was super super isolated right on the
super remote.
Idaho-Wyoming border.
Yeah, and no cell phone service there. They couldn't even ping his car. It was that remote. So, Kylie, we don't know actually. We had a little tiff with East Idaho News actually on Saturday over this.
Did.
Well,
Yeah. Well, you did on behalf of all of
I
us.
they posted an article about it, and they insinuated. They said in the article it said it was likely a suicide. Okay, how dare you? Like the sheriff,
Mhm.
we don't know. We're doing an autopsy, right?
Right.
We don't know we're doing an autopsy. And East Idaho News reported that. And I went, "Who the hell do you guys think you are?" So
Yeah, it wasn't cool.
I commented on the article and tagged them, and then I sent them a private message and said, "Hey, uh, uh, we're family, and no, how you? That's horrible.
Yeah.
To suppose on a suicide? Like, are you kidding me?
Just don't.
If
Yeah,
you're going to
it's gross.
report the facts, and the fact is that's not known." So they responded a little defensively, but they did retract. So
They did. Yeah,
yeah.
they at least took that sentence out. The
Mhm.
suicide prevention stuff that they put at the bottom of all of their articles, um, that are suicides, uh, was still there though.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So they kind
implication
of
was kind of
retracted.
there.
Yeah,
Kinda,
but
yeah.
come on, East
I don't
Idaho
know.
News, you guys know better. Yeah.
They do, but I will say that they are very responsive.
Mhm.
And this is the second time. So a few years ago, they published an article about a local girls basketball, I think, coach
Mhm.
who had sexually abused one of her players. But
Yeah.
their headline said, local girls basketball coach has lesbian relationship with
Yeah.
student.
Mhm.
And I wrote them. Actually, I commented on their public page and said,
Mhm.
this is gross and wrong, and you're blaming the LGBT community instead of
Mhm.
calling her a sex offender, a child predator,
Mhm.
this was child sexual abuse.
Mhm.
And they wrote me back and said, we see what you're saying, and they changed the article to
Mhm.
more clearly reflect what
Uh-huh.
yeah, Lee, it's really not around here.
Yeah.
That will
Unfortunately, that's pretty normal. Yep.
If there's an opportunity to connect an LGBT person with being a criminal,
Mhm.
particularly a pedophile, they will, swing
Every
it that way.
time. Yep.
Oh, thanks, guys. I just have the back of my hair pulled up, so these are my front layers, but I do really like it.
It's cute
So thanks. I know you guys
and
like it too.
comfy. Yeah. So at least they
Mhm.
retracted, and it's right. We don't know because he was having a brain event when this happened, and so from a traumatic brain injury, and so we don't know. We're just going to wait and see what the medical examiner says, and yes,
Right.
they're doing a autopsy, because he's 50 and it's an unintended death, and that's what you're supposed to do. It's fine. It's probably fine. That's what's happening.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and I I'm grateful for that, I
Yes.
just
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish when I heard that he was found, my first thought was, "Don't be in Idaho. Don't be in Idaho," because
Right.
we know what a bullshit medical examiner situation we have in Idaho. That
Hmm.
autopsy is going to take a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, be Utah or Wyoming because they both have a better system than we do."
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
though,
GSI
unfortunately.
came in late and is real surprised and confused about what we're talking about. We have
Oh,
a cousin that's been missing since November that was just found last Thursday.
yeah,
And we had been asked not to say anything until the news came out. So we had not, Christy had not on Friday because, well, we were asked
yeah,
not to and to wait. So here we are. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we'll wait and see what the autopsy says. And then this might be the last you hear about this and it might not be, but
yeah. We don't know for
we don't
sure,
know.
but
Yeah.
um,
Well,
I have a little bit of show and tell.
oh, show us and tell us.
Y'all have heard about my new baby kitty, Gigi. Well, Gigi is growing, and you can't tell very good. Well, you can't tell right there at all
Oh,
because she's darling. Sorry, give me 1 second.
look at those
I
markings.
know,
That
look at her
itty
markings.
bitty
Isn't she
foot.
pretty?
Oh,
Now, ta-da! Look at her face.
Oh my goodness.
Her eyes actually are open, and so my cousin's gonna try to get a picture of her with her eyes open so I can share with you. But she's growing, and look at that beautiful coat. Isn't she gonna be a
She's
gorgeous kitty?
beautiful.
I'm
Yes,
so
she's gonna be
excited
gorgeous.
about her. I can hardly stand it.
How many
Yeah.
cousins do we have? Oh dear God.
Oh,
It
guys,
would
we
take
are
a
from a
while.
you got to understand, if you don't know this, Mormons have big families
Mhm,
and we have big extended families,
mhm.
particularly, like all of our extended family is living in this area.
Yeah,
So I couldn't even 100, maybe more.
probably, maybe more.
We have a lot of cousins. So you
Mhm.
probably hear us talk about cousins on the show all the time. That's because there are a lot of them.
We have a lot of
Because we
cousins.
know our first cousins, our second, and our third, like
Yeah.
we knew our great grandparents and great
Mhm,
aunts and uncles. Like we have a
mhm.
very large family.
Large extended family, yeah. We have a really special set of cousins that are our grandmother and grandfather, their brother and sister got married. So 2 sisters married 2 brothers. And so those kids and those cousins are all they're second cousins to us, but like on our DNA and stuff like that, they show up as first cousins and
Wow.
sometimes as siblings because
Yeah.
we're that close and they are some of our favorite people in the world. And
Yeah.
that's kind of fun and special, I think. But
It
yeah,
is.
there's so many people in our family. Yeah.
But yeah, we have a huge family. And
Yeah.
yeah, we run into people that are our relatives constantly
Oh
everywhere we go.
yeah. Yeah. Not all that we are super close to, but some that we are very close to.
But many
Yeah.
that we know well
Oh
and that we
yeah.
know, like, their children and their
Mhm.
children's children. I mean, you would be surprised by
Uh-huh.
'cause other people will tell me, "I have hardly any family." I'm like, "I don't know what that would feel like when
Yeah.
you consider."
Right? There's Bev, one of our cousins. She said all of our cousins are awesome,
Every
right?
time I got to praying
Yes.
for a red
We
light,
do
it's
have
when
Can
the
you hear
very good
that?
sirens
family.
make
I
us feel
can.
alive. It's just normal
Is that
Um,
coming
conversations
from
and baby,
you?
it's all fine.
yeah, I
Quiet
don't know
girl
why.
when it's
I'm
between
gonna
fall
click out for a
lines.
sec.
It's
Okay.
good.
She's gonna get us kicked off the live playing music that's not ours. Yeah. Not really, Shelley. Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask other
Okay,
cousins, I
sorry,
guess.
fixed it.
But I don't think so.
No, not really. I mean, there are a few that would probably say that, yes, but
It's
the
probably
majority,
some of the older set maybe, but
yeah,
yeah. The cousins
we
that are
don't
more
care.
our age, no. But
Well,
right,
sorry
Noah
about that
Khan,
little Noah
Amber.
Con break. That was accidental. uh, I think I pushed a button on my earbud that I'm wearing
Oh.
to hear you, and it kicked on my Spotify account.
Oh hell. Well, okay. Well,
A little
you know,
too convenient.
but it is Noah Khan, so
We do love him. It's
I
true.
know. All of the kids are going to a Noah Khan concert in Salt Lake this summer, and they gave us an opportunity to come with them, and we were like, an outdoor concert in Salt Lake City in July? That is the seventh
No,
circle of
thank you.
hell. There is
Yeah,
no
it is.
way I could do that. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No.
So hot. No way.
Oh,
I'm drinking Stella Rosa Black. It's a red wine.
yeah. So good too. I'm
Mhm.
drinking gin and lemonade. That's all.
Guys,
Well, should we
I
hit
have
it?
great news.
Yes.
I have just received update pictures of Gigi with her eyes open. So,
Oh,
oh my gosh.
we'll get them here. Oh, Amber tried to get tickets and they were sold out, right? They
I
went
will,
fast, but these guys were like on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our kids, I don't know, are you guys, if you're, in your later 40s, do y'all have kids that are like going to a billion concerts?
Yes.
Like that
We
is
all
such a
do.
thing now. And they're
Yeah.
spending like shocking amounts of money
Yeah.
to do it. Okay, I'm sending myself a couple of these pictures so I can share them with you because oh my god, are they cute.
Oh. Oh, Christy's drinking proper 12 Irish whiskey.
Oh, nice. I like it. Very good. Yes.
Lori is
Uh,
drinking water. That's okay too.
I mean, whatever floats your boat. I don't care.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm hurrying. I know. Some of you are like, kitten picture. This is a true crime show. Somebody will comment. I promise you, we will get a comment.
Journey says that she does not like wine. Listen, I hear that, and there's only certain wines I will drink, but the only time I have ever had alcohol poisoning, it was from a wine tasting, and I've never been sicker or more humiliated in my life, and so
May
it's
I
taken
just
me a
say
while to
it
get.
wasn't the wine's fault.
It was a bad, bad night for this guy in the
It was a
ER.
group of stupid ex-Mormons that don't have a clue how to drink is really what that was. It's not like Katie's a heavy drinker. She is not.
No.
We didn't know the rules at a wine tasting.
Mm-mm. We weren't tasting. We were drinking.
Here we go. Here's baby Gigi with her eyes open.
No.
Is she so
Oh.
precious?
Oh, good Lord. Look at that belly. I
Oh,
just need to kiss all those little
you
toeses.
guys, right? I cannot wait. Wait till one day we'll be doing a live and I'll be, guess who came home? And it'll be Gigi in real life.
You'll be wrestling that kitten. That's right.
Mhm.
So cute. Okay. Cute animals and true crime. Right, Sandy? We have to have, some emergency breaks here to make this all
We really
doable.
do.
But it's probably time to get into it.
I think it is.
Because what a day it was. One thing
God,
before
right?
we get into the synopsis of the day, according to Woodcocks, who passed this along to Nate and others,
Yes.
Julie Rowe was in the courtroom today. Before court started, apparently she came in and a bailiff came and removed her because she is on the witness list.
Oh my gosh.
What? Why,
Lunatic,
Julie?
what are you doing?
I'm afraid if they get her on the witness list or on the stand and ask her if she's been watching shit, she has. I just don't believe
she
she
will
hasn't.
have. She follows no one's rules. Also, her TikTok right now is holy shit balls, you guys.
If you live in Orem and you're DTF, so is she.
Yeah.
Holy
Oh my
moly.
gosh. I mean, she's out there, but this was way out there on her TikTok.
But why? Why was she in the courtroom?
Right?
Yeah.
Also, is she on deck? Is that why she's there?
Is that why she was there
Why
and
is
just
she
didn't know where she
there?
was supposed to be? Good question, because Orem and Boise aren't that close together. That was a drive.
Not even in the same state, so no. Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild, you guys. If we get her on, can you imagine?
She
what
is
she
very unwell.
doing?
I just can't even imagine. Yeah. There's a part of me
But
that
I
wants to
mean-
see her on the stand and a part of me that doesn't because
I know.
holy moly.
It's gonna be probably really hilarious and also really sad because she's got big problems.
Yeah. Hard yikes. I did make a meme for today. I felt like it was called for.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is making my client look guilty.
Well, that's awesome. And yes.
Later, I realized
How-
it should have said judge, not Your Honor, because he usually calls him judge. But
he always says judge. It's kind of flippant. Like, I'm not calling you Your Honor. I'm calling you judge.
Right. Yeah. So, but it's still okay. She's a former Mormon that kind of started Chad's journey. She had written some books. She had been showing up in that AVOW group or a vow. I always call it AVOW, but I noticed in court they were calling it a vow. But
I called it AVOW when we were referring to it to the police for pride.
Yeah, true. So the AVOW group had Julie was posting in there about dreams she was having. Somehow she and Chad got connected, and she wrote and published, and he published her books about her near-death experiences and her dreams and her prophecies. And she said on her TikTok a few days ago that she's getting divorced because her husband doesn't believe that all these earthquakes that she's prophesizing about are going to happen.
Yeah.
But all the earthquake stuff, that's where it started, was with Julie. And then she also teaches, classes and things. And she and Chad were really tight. And then she got in trouble with the church over the stuff she was saying and doing. And the stake president demanded that she get all of her books off the shelves immediately, which Chad had to do because he was her publisher, and Chad and Tammy. And she did eventually get excommunicated, and now she's
Good.
kind of still doing her thing, but the stuff that she writes and posts on social media is alarming,
It
and
is.
she seems to be pretty unwell. So I don't want to make fun of Julie because I probably did, but she is unwell,
It's
very
tough.
unwell. Yeah,
Sh-
but I'm
And she
so
was
confused.
so confused.
Yeah,
She is also the person that it has been alluded to multiple times. Heather Daybell alluded to it, that she may have also had an affair with Chad.
yeah, yeah. Well, she had said in other interviews that she'd been SA'd by Chad. So,
I
and
mean,
she's also the one that was with Chad on Heather Daybell's property that was discussed last week,
yeah,
plotting
when
out
they
their
were,
tent city.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and it wasn't until Chad knew her and heard about her near-death experience that he started coming up with his own.
yeah, yeah.
A lot of people think that he
Mhm.
basically just took her idea.
Well, his family was like, "You've had near-death experiences?" That was news to
Yeah.
them. Yeah, yeah. So,
That's all right, Kathy. You don't have to chat if you don't feel up
no,
to it.
just hang. You're good.
Just
We feel you.
chill. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that happened today, of course, was Garrett Smith getting removed from the courtroom during Ian Pawlowski's testimony. Now, that was interesting.
That's the second time that's happened to this idiot. What the hell is wrong with him?
So,
That happened
Garrett,
during Zulema, too, in
yeah.
Lori's trial.
hmm So, Garrett Smith is an attorney in Arizona who, at one point, and we don't know who now, but at one point, he was representing Zulema, Summer,
Shiflet.
Shiflett, Lori's sister, as well as Melanie and Ian Pawlowski. How is he representing all of these people that are involved in this case? Good damn question.
And why is he representing them? Like, what is he representing them for exactly? This we do not know.
This is the same person who was sued and lost by Brandon Boudreaux for $12 million because he defamed him publicly during Melanie and Brandon's divorce and accused
Yes.
Brandon of some really bad stuff that we will not repeat because Brandon is litigious. Brandon, don't sue us. We're not.
Also,
We're not
Brandon is also innocent.
innocent.
He
But
didn't do
he
anything. They were just
released a public statement accusing him of some bad shit. Anyway, he got sued and lost for that. Also, this is the same guy who made the recordings of the prosecutor, of Rob Wood, meeting with Summer Shiflett way back at the very beginning of this case.
yes.
He was in Arizona with the police interviewing some people. These are the things that make Pryor so mad, right? That he can do, but Pryor thinks he should not do. But he was in Arizona. He sat for an interview with Summer Shiflett, Summer's
Mhm.
attorney. Garrett Smith was there. Garrett recorded the entire conversation without Rob Wood knowing, which is legal in Arizona. They're a one party state, so he can do that, but it was still a dick move to do. And then immediately passed
Mhm.
that conversation on to Mark Means and John Pryor. And Mark Means got his feelings sorely hurt because the prosecutor told Summer that Lori really ought to get a better attorney because Mark doesn't have a clue what he's doing. And so they used that to try to get Rob Wood removed from the case. There was a huge deal. They had expert witnesses, and it was when you
Yeah.
talk about belligerent turd circus, it was
Oh,
like
it was.
it was the center ring of the belligerent turd circus. Insanity. So then, when Zulema was on the stand last year in Lori's trial, Garrett Smith was there
Mhm.
and removed from the courtroom because he was acting inappropriately while she was testifying.
Both times he's being accused of cueing his client, like
Mhm.
nodding about, yes, say yes to that kind of thing. That's
Yep.
what's been accused both times.
Mhm.
And so if there's
And
any
today,
question of that at all, they will kick him out. And they
Yep.
did.
Yep. So apparently, Others in the courtroom said he was nodding or, somehow implicating to Ian how to answer things. And so that's why he was removed. Yep.
Ian didn't seem to think that he was looking at him to get answers. I don't think that Ian was looking to him because Ian was
Right.
like, no.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think Ian would, frankly.
I don't either. But then again,
But
the prosecutor's office, they probably really hate Smith because F that guy. But
no, he's not supposed to do that because he's not a
Oh,
part of this case.
yeah.
And Ian is a witness, not a defendant. So
Yep.
no, he can't
Yep.
interfere like that.
Nope.
And
All
they brought
right.
up last time that he is not licensed in Idaho, and so
Right.
he shouldn't even be coming to things here
Mm-mm.
because he's not licensed anyway, which
Right.
was interesting.
Melanie has an attorney, or at least did last year, had an attorney on what's the right word when you pay an attorney? Anyway,
Retainer.
retainer. She had an attorney on
Mhm.
retainer, Josh Garner from here in Rexburg.
Mhm.
I was like, "What, Josh? Are you kidding?" We went to high school with Josh. My daughter trained with his son for ball. I'm like,
Mhm.
if I see Josh, I'm going to confront him about this, but I never did. What are you doing with that as a client? But everyone deserves to have an attorney, so I decided to, grow up. So I never did that. But
Right. So Leanne
yeah,
says, did you see what Leanne said? He was moving all around and tapping his fingers on the back of the bench that he sat on, but I couldn't see anything clear relation there. But we couldn't see his head really. Yeah.
interesting. Interesting. Well, that's they were probably keeping a close eye on him because of the Zulema incident last year.
Right. Well, I think the judge noticed him when they went to lunch and the judge said, I need to have a quick sidebar with everyone. The attorneys did not ask for the sidebar. The judge did.
Maybe he's the one that noticed it and got
Well,
uncomfy.
because I think he maybe notified everyone he was in the courtroom. And then he called for a sidebar again. And that's when they discussed what was happening and then
Mhm.
kicked him out. Who tipped off the judge? Well, he could have seen him.
Yeah,
And he would know who he is because it's happened before. Like they pay attention to stuff like that.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it was the judge.
maybe it was. It could have been.
Yeah.
Remember when he tried to ring me up for recording him when I wasn't?
Right. He's a stickler, man.
That's right. All right. Well, let's get into it because today really was something else. So, of course, we started with the FBI back on the stand with Agent Daniels. And he was just continuing to go through JJ's burial site. Interesting because it was really about JJ today, which means that we're
Is
going to
it?
be back on this topic for Diley.
No, we already did it on Friday.
Oh,
That
okay.
is
Well, never
how
mind.
court ended on Friday. Was they did a really brilliant thing on Friday, and Katie missed
Okay.
it, obviously.
I
But
did.
they did the whole part with them finding Tylee. They, blocked the live stream from seeing the pictures,
Mhm,
did the pictures of what was left of her body in the hole and the melted bucket and the part of her skull, all that stuff.
mhm,
And then they did the thing with her necklace when her necklace was found.
mhm,
And then they also brought in a shovel and a pickaxe that
mhm,
were wrapped in brown paper and showed them to the jury. They
mhm.
believe that these are two of the tools that were used to bury Tylee, but maybe also to dismember her body.
Okay.
It was a really, really smart move because Wood intentionally took up all the time
Yeah.
so that,
That left the jury with that for the weekend.
yeah.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, thank you for that. I actually did listen
Mhm.
on Friday, but in the afternoon it got dicey. So that's probably
Ah,
what I missed. Okay.
no. It was very good, and it was very impactful.
Yeah. So today they went over the the grave site of JJ, made a big point to talk about the vantage point from the upstairs window, of being able to look out that window and see that spot. Uh, I'm sure Pryor was seething about that, but they really hammered on that for a minute. And then he talked about kind of how you could see that the vegetation had obviously been disturbed there, and where they started to dig, that there were stones that were laid out precisely in a row, and you can see the tree roots and the rocks. And because what they had done is the way they had buried him, there were wooden planks under the stones, and then there was JJ. And so they talked
Oh,
about, what that looked like to find him. And, then they of course opened the plastic at the head so that they could, see what they were looking at. And of course they realized that was JJ's body.
yeah.
And they actually uncovered his feet first, but then they got to his head and opened that up. And of course, this is there's a lot of photos being shown, some of which we did see that were more innocuous, and then of course the really gruesome stuff we did not see, which is just fine.
Nobody
And
needs to see what that little boy looked like in those
yeah,
trash bags. You just don't.
no. When they found JJ, they had not found Tylee yet. And so they brought in a backhoe after they removed JJ to see if there was anything else there to find. They figured maybe Tylee would be in the same place. Of course, she was not. So they had to go further. And as you know, they did find Tylee. So when Wood has no further questions and Pryor cross examines, he goes to a completely different place with Daniels about his search of Alex Cox's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Daniels is completely unprepared for this conversation. I don't think he had any idea this is even going to be on the table.
Well, I mean, I'm not exactly sure why it was allowed
I,
because it wasn't part of the direct.
yeah,
This should have been saved for Pryor's direct cross
yeah.
examination of Daniels. It was really dumb.
I had the same thoughts. I really wondered why they were even letting him, except for this is just Pryor's word salad, and all of this
Mm-hmm.
jumping around does nothing but confuse. I don't know if it confuses the jury. I think that's the goal, but I don't think it really confuses the jury.
I'm wondering if it's more like annoys the jury
Yeah.
because it's such a time waster.
So, of course, he asked him if they use luminol. He asks them about using cadaver dogs. Pryor asks him if it's unusual that he could remember all of these things that the prosecution asked him, but he can't remember anything that Pryor is asking him.
Yeah, part of it was just to try to discredit. And you
Yeah.
cannot discredit Daniels. Are you kidding me?
Daniels is like,
So
I've done a
professional and
lot of
prepared.
searches since then. Yeah. He's
Yeah,
like, I would need to review my notes. I would
yeah.
have to do that. Yeah, it was weird. And so then they start talking about a meeting that they had. They had a staging meeting. It sounds like it was the night before they executed the search warrant at Chad's house with multiple agencies to talk about what this was going to look like and what they were going to do. So then he really tries to discredit Daniels because he doesn't know what time the meeting was and he doesn't know how many people were there. And he doesn't know how many agencies were there. Basically, he's like, look, I'm just there doing my thing. Like,
Right.
I'm probably not the person to ask. It wasn't my meeting. I didn't schedule the meeting. I just attended the meeting.
Right.
He really wanted to know if Rob Wood was there. And he said, yeah, I think he was. Yeah. Uh, again, yes,
Just
Rob has every right to be there. He has every right to be there. This constant trying to prove that Rob Wood was doing something wrong gets really fucking old. It's
well, it
ridiculous.
does because I think it shows Pryor's lack of experience
Mm-hmm.
in criminal stuff because
Mm-hmm.
prosecutors are at crime scenes a lot. That's not that unusual, and especially in a case like this, they're going to go make sure everything is being done to the letter of the law.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they want to be
That,
there to make sure that they're that
yeah.
everything is going to be admissible that they're finding.
Right. Then he wants to know when they were executing the search warrant, how many agents or people were there over the course of those 2 days. And he's like, I would say at least 50. How the hell does he know? He's digging up buried children. He's really focused on his job.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. So then he hits him up about the charm, Tylee's necklace, right? The Pura Vida
Mhm.
charm. And it was actually observable by eye on top of the ground. And Pryor acts real weird about that. Again, I start thinking, is he Is he trying to backhandedly say that was placed or something? He didn't say it, but he
I
was.
think so, because he also tried to ask, did it appear to have been, did it appear that anyone was trying to hide it?
Yeah.
And that got objected to and sustained, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then he wants to know about the backhoe. He says, yeah, we used a backhoe to, excavate the area, looking for, after we removed JJ and looking for Tylee's remains. He wants to know if all of Tylee's remains were removed from the gravesite. This is something that's going to come up because he's hell-bent on proving that, I'm not sure what, except for that he's hell-bent on proving that something nefarious happened because they didn't find a lot of body parts from her.
That she was really killed somewhere else, and then somebody buried these few parts to set up Chad, I think is where he's trying to go.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So then...
Oh, listen, wait, you got to hear this from Sarah. Sarah says, I don't think we have heard the last of Pryor trying to convince Judge Boyce that Rob Wood should be a witness. He wants one more crack at that apple.
He does. Really bad. Yep.
He does. Sarah, you're the best. Thanks for saying it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So then when they're done digging the first day, they did secure the property. And I will tell you they deserve to secure the property because we were there that day.
Yeah.
When they opened the roads back up, we went there and we did a live stream. You guys have seen it.
Yeah.
We were there. Was the property secured? Yes. Could you
Very
get
much
anywhere
so.
near it? Absolutely not. There
No.
were police officers there all night long. They had those giant lights that are run by generator, that like light up the whole neighborhood. They had a couple of those out there. There was crime scene tape everywhere. There were multiple officers there that guarded the property all night. Yes, it was secured. He tried to kind of leave a little, well, I mean, could anybody did that generated a lot of public interest. I mean, surely people could, again, trying to insinuate that people just like wandered up onto the property and did whatever they wanted. That's not true at all. And I'll, again, we were there. That's just not true at all. Then he wants to know about the tools in Chad's garage and wants to know if the FBI and police were using Chad's tools from his garage to excavate the kids.
It was so stupid.
The thought that they just walked in Chad's garage and they're like, wow, good, here's a pickaxe. We're going to need that.
We didn't bring any of our own tools because we're not professionals. And we don't come here knowing we're going to be digging up remains because they did. They had figured it out.
FBI, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but what about the black handle?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
So he shows him a picture of tools from Chad's garage. He asks them if all of the tools were confiscated. He says, no, not all of them. I don't know why, but he said that they did not take everything. He zooms in on this big black-handled tool, and he asks him if there's anything that indicates there could be an issue with the tool. And he says he'd need to look at the whole thing. And there was some argument about there's more than just looking at a little speck on the handle. I wasn't sure where that was going.
Well, I think it was just Daniels saying there'd have to be, I got to have more information. Like, I can't just see a little speck on the handle and know what's up. But Pryor took that as meaning he saw a speck on the handle.
Yeah.
But I think he was just making an analogy. Like, I'm just trying to get you to understand why this is such a dumb question.
Mm-hmm. So then he shows another big wide shot of the tools on the ground in the garage. And these are the tools that were seized. There were quite a few of them. Mm-hmm. He asked him if he laid out the tools, and he says he did not. Someone else did. Then he zooms in again on the black handle on a shovel and asks him what he sees on the handle. And he's like, I don't know. And Pryor says, it's something, right? And he says, I don't know. So he finally says...
It's all pixelated. You can't really even...
Yeah. He finally says, I don't think I'm seeing what you want me to see.
That was such a great comment.
That was a mic drop. He said, I see a black shovel handle. Pryor, fair enough. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. His usual response when he doesn't get what he wants.
Yeah.
But he went back at that with the with the smaller picture and the bigger picture and
Mhm.
just multiple versions several times. It was so
Right.
stupid.
See something, please. Like, what? What? Anyway, then of course he wants to know, well, could any citizens just wander into the garage and mess with this stuff on the 9th and the 10th? And he's like, again, no, they couldn't. The area was secured.
Yeah.
He asked about a sign on the property. So there's 2 wooden posts and a dog statue. And Tammy's sister had said the dog statue was there because that is the pet cemetery.
Right.
And they also, did find a cat and a dog buried. And no, they did not find a raccoon.
Sure
And
didn't.
that's how they knew it was the pet cemetery. Also, that was confirmed by Tammy's sister. So
Mhm.
Pryor has no further questions. We go back into redirect. And basically, Wood is just asking him some follow up, like on the, like Wood asked Daniels if he recalls that there were 2 Fremont prosecutors at the planning meeting. He says no, because he didn't
Yeah.
really know who anybody was. So it wasn't just
Right.
Wood at the meeting. It was, he
It
always
was
makes it sound like Wood
Lindsay
is like,
Blake and her former deputy. I can't think of her name.
Rawlings.
Tanya Rawlings.
Tanya
Yeah.
Rawlings, yeah. So that's pretty much it for Wood. They have no more questions for him, but he is remaining under subpoena, so he may very well be back.
Yeah.
Then we take a break. And then the moment we were all waiting for.
Oh wait, you forgot the SmackDown.
Oh, yes. Well, right. This happened with this. So the moment we were all waiting for was when they said the state calls Melanie Pawlowski to the stand.
Oh, but the SmackDown happened with Hart or Daniels with Agent Daniels.
We must be talking about different SmackDowns. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, this is where Judge Boyce pretty soundly kicks Pryor's ass. Here you go.
One of the reasons we showed you those photos we took was just to show you that it was fairly easy to walk to. As we walked towards that burial, that raised berm, it was pretty easy to distinguish where that burial site was.
And I appreciate that.
It was hidden though.
Judge, I'm going to
Mr. Pryor,
object.
I'm going to object to you talking over the top of his response, Mr. Pryor. Let him finish his answer.
And Judge, it's non-responsive.
Mr. Pryor, you just ran over me. Stop cutting people off in your cross, please, including me. Let the witness finish, and we'll never get an accurate record if you keep doing that. So please do that.
And Judge, my objection is non-responsive. I asked him about the electronic data. I didn't ask him about the rest of this colloquy.
Your Honor,
Ask another question, Mr. Pryor.
He walks away from the lectern all dramatically while he's just had his ass handed to him by the judge.
But how disrespectful when the judge is like, stop doing that, please. And he goes, Judge, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't even acknowledge that the judge said that. I don't know why I thought, well, I know why I thought that was Melanie. It's because he did it to Melanie over and over. And
Oh, yeah,
finally
he
did
did.
get called on it, but it wasn't nearly as aggressive as that time. At that point,
Yeah.
he just went, the judge has absolutely had it with this fool.
He
Yeah.
has had it. Yeah, the judge might get his pickaxe, right?
Right? My God.
Right? And he does just go back like you never even heard him. He didn't apologize
Yep.
or say, I'll do better, Your Honor. Nothing. He just
Yep.
keeps on going. He's such an ass.
Nikki, you're absolutely right. She said Pryor's tell is, and I appreciate that. That's when you know he's losing his shit. Yep.
or when he turns from the lectern all dramatically.
Yep.
Because he wants it to seem like it's a mic drop. But those mics, they're not hitting the ground, man.
Yeah.
They're just not.
No. GSI, I'm with you. He does do it every day to every witness. He does it to the judge. He does it to the prosecution. It's outrageous. He did it to Melanie actually quite a bit. I kept saying to my husband, when's he going to get a smackdown for that? Because he rolled over Melanie over and over. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Darrow did it to Brooks. She finally had to throw him out of the courtroom several times.
Oh man, she had to. That was oh my God, that trial is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Brooks was in court last week, by the way, and was handcuffed to a wheelchair.
Of course he was. As he should be.
As well he should be. Yep. So we finally get Melanie on the stand. Boy, Melanie has changed. Now has dark hair. She used to be blonde. and white rimmed glasses, big, ugly white rimmed glasses. Anybody want to discuss who she looked like?
Well, I will
Do
tell
you have the
you,
picture?
I do have the picture. My 2 cents from the chat sent us this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There, Lori. Wait, there's another one though. There's another one with Lori with glasses on. I'll get the other one too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She looks like Lori. It's
Yeah,
really
she does.
weird. I mean, they are family, but the glasses. What's
But
with
yeah,
these
some
big
of it
plastic
seems
glasses?
intentional,
Mm-hmm. It was
like
very weird.
weirdly.
Well, I'll keep going while you find that.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, you got to see the one with the glasses from Lori's trial
mhm,
because it is, frankly, a little chilling.
mhm. Well, and thank goodness. Sounds like Melanie got the message that you might actually get to go to jail this time if you
Yeah.
screw up. So, really, for sure, don't watch or read anything. And
Yeah.
she did not, or at least claims she did not. So, there they are. So, she was able to testify. I was holding my breath, like, are you
I
going to
was
pull this
too.
shit again? But she
Like,
did
you are
not.
going to go straight to jail if you do. The
Mm-hmm.
judge would have been so mad. Okay, here
Right.
we go. Here's the glasses.
Yeah.
Weird? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy? Also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. It did look like a disguise. Agreed. It's very weird. Yeah. So Melanie gets on the stand. If you didn't have a chance to listen, Melanie sounds like a child.
Mhm.
She sounds like a little girl, her voice.
I
She
think
starts talking.
intellectually she's kind of a child too.
Agreed. Agreed. So she starts talking about, so she was with Josh Garner. So you guys that are asking who the other attorney was that was with Garrett Smith, that is Josh Garner. I didn't realize
Oh,
that.
everyone says he was dressed strangely. I
Yeah,
didn't see. I didn't see that. I wasn't sure what they were talking about.
he's kind of a metrosexual kind of dresser, so I could see that. Yeah,
Mm.
I could see that actually. So, okay, well, it was Josh. Okay, now we
How
know.
funny.
All right. So, of course, she talks about being, Lori's niece and being close with Lori. She met Chad in the fall of 2018. No big surprise there. She would send messages to Chad through Lori asking for guidance and advice. And,
Mhm.
over time developed a close relationship with Chad and started calling him dad. Ew. She said Chad and Lori shared with her teachings about light and dark. She said that Chad used a pendulum to determine to get answers. I don't know if I'd heard that before. Maybe I had,
Oh
but
yeah, it's been talked about with other people too.
yeah. She said he didn't always need his pendulum, but it was something extra that he could use. They talk about casting. She
Remember, it's
said,
some necklace he found, and he thought it was because God had sent it to him.
"Oh, that's right. Yeah."
Yeah.
Then she talked about that to cast, you're just supposed to raise your hand to the square. That's something from the temple. That's a Mormon
Sorry.
temple rite,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. And there are lots of hand positions, handshakes, things like that from the temple. And those aren't things I'm ever going to really specifically get into on this show, only because it's just not very respectful to, other people's religion.
They're quite similar to things that the Masons do.
Yeah. Yeah. But since she said it, I'll say it. But raising
Mhm.
your hand to the square and ordering a demon out would be, I don't know about ordering a demon out. I've never heard that at church, but the whole, putting your hand to the square was definitely from the
Evil.
temple.
I think evil is a word that.
Evil. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. So she said during the castings, Charles was never physically present and that they weren't doing anything physically to Charles. Like no one was putting their hands on him or, physically manipulating him in any way. So then, of course, they talk about that she learned that JJ was affected by some kind of darkness and that Tylee had also been labeled as dark and that she didn't know if JJ had ever been actually labeled as dark, but she assumed so from
Mhm.
what she had been told.
She had a lot of, I don't know, I assume so, answers. Way
Yeah,
too
she
many.
did. Way too many. Yep. So Then, of course, they talk about castings, and she says she thinks that they were actually initially the idea of doing those came from Julie Rowe, and that
Let's
Chad then added his own ideas to it.
yeah. Let's address this real quick.
Yeah.
Valerie says Masons and Mormons are not the same thing at all. No, they are not. But Mormon rites in the temple actually mirror a lot of Masonic rites,
Mhm.
and the Masonic rites did exist prior to the Mormon temple. So there is
Mhm.
a lot of knowledge around that there is quite a bit of influence
Mhm.
in those Mormon rites. So
Yeah.
maybe you didn't know that, Valerie. I don't know. But we're not trying
But
to say
yeah.
they're the same, but there
No, not
is
at all.
some similarity in those particular rites.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. So then they talk about Tylee. Of course, Melanie says yes, Tylee is her cousin. The last time she saw Tylee is when Tylee was packing up to move to Arizona with JJ and Lori. So she never saw the kids in Idaho. So then she learns about the death of Charles. They talked about that from Adam. Oh my God, Pryor fought that one tooth and nail. He objected over and over and over. It's like, dude, she's just saying that she got a phone call from someone who said that Charles died. Like, seriously.
Right.
Why do you fight the wrong
And
things?
and we all know that happened because we all know he's dead. So like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they talk a little bit about Charles's death, basically what she'd heard from Alex about them getting in a fight and Alex shooting Charles. Then she says Lori was telling everyone different things about why she was moving because she needed to be protected and that she was going into hiding. And then, of course, she knows that Alex did move with them. So she didn't visit Lori in Rexburg until the end of September. And she says that she did ask where Tylee was and that she said she got a few different answers. But the one that stuck with her was that Tylee was with a friend doing her own thing at college. And I could just slap Melanie for this one, honestly.
Right.
What 16-year-old is living on a college campus? In what
Right. I
world
mean,
is
think
that
about it.
happening? In a
Right.
world that Tylee had a stable mother, she would have been a junior in high school. A junior. Not going to college, living on a college campus. That's insanity. But I don't know that she's heavy on the thinking, you know?
No, that's really my impression is that she's
Mhm.
not. And she's very impressionable and she's easy to fool.
Yeah.
And she literally trusted Lori with everything.
Yep. When she didn't see JJ, she asked, and Lori said that she'd hired a nanny who was taking care of JJ. She said she doesn't think she saw Chad during that visit either. Then, of course, in October, they go to Hawaii. And that got really interesting. You have a clip for us here.
I do. Let's hear about maybe why Alex didn't go with them to Hawaii on a trip that occurred over the 19th of October. You
Mhm.
might remember that important date.
Something happened back in Idaho while you were in Hawaii.
Yes,
And what was that?
Tammy Daybell passed away.
At some point while you were there, you learned of Tammy's passing, though.
Yes.
How did Lori seem to be?
She, from what I could tell, seemed in a state of shock, just surprised.
Did Lori head back to Idaho after that?
Yes.
Did you head back to Idaho right away?
No, I stayed longer.
Was someone else supposed to go on the trip with you and Lori to Hawaii?
I think I found out later that Alex was going to come with us on that trip.
Why didn't Alex go?
Lori said Chad had something that he needed help with.
Oh,
Sorry. There's a lot of buttons to click there.
so Alex couldn't go because he needed to stay back and help Chad be all murdery? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. First time we've heard that.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Just wow.
So she did say when they were in Hawaii, Lori was never on the phone with JJ or Tylee. She really never heard anything about JJ and Tylee. So then she's talking about how Melanie gave her messages from Chad, that Lori was kind of the middleman passing messages back and forth, that was pretty much the way they did things a lot of the time. Lori would run to Chad with a so and so needs a blessing, so and so needs a message, and then Chad would put it out, and then Lori would deliver it. That's kind of how they operated, but yeah. So then Blake asks her about the Church of the Firstborn. And Melanie said that Chad believed he was meant to be a leader in the church, and Chad and Lori were supposed to help with the second coming of Jesus Christ. Then, of course, as we know, that Chad was the person that you would ask if you wanted to know if somebody was light or dark. Melanie said they also taught her that some type of darkness could not be cast out, and the Lord would take the person because the darkness was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. So they ask about Lori and Alex's relationship. Well, let me back up. They ask about the idea, Blake asks about the idea of the body having to die if it became too dark. And she said that idea she believes came from Chad. Then they start talking about how much they hated the Rexburg police and how much they were, talking about how the police were corrupt, particularly Hermosillo and Hope, Detectives Hermosillo and Detective Hope, that they were dark and that they were corrupt. They even said that they were a part of Kane's group. I don't think they used army, but Kane's any inner circle or something. Yes. So they were literally working for the devil. Okay, sure. Because anybody who opposed them, of course, was dark. So when the police were looking for the kids, Melanie said Alex seemed calm and normal. She said that Chad had reached out to her and said that Brandon was following her and had put a tracking device on her car. And that turned out to be true, which really validated the things that Chad was saying to her. So she was kind of gobbling it up. She already had been. It's not like he needed to prove that to her, but
No,
I'm
she
not
was
terribly
already
surprised if
deep
Brandon
in
was
this.
tracking her car, because she was acting crazy as hell, and he was desperately trying to keep his kids safe. One thing
Right.
that wasn't discussed today, because it probably wasn't pertinent, but Brandon had essentially gone into hiding after he was shot at. He took
Yeah.
his kids and he went to Utah to his parents, and the kids were with his parents, and Melanie and Alex showed up there. Melanie pounding on the door, hysterical as hell, demanding to see her kids. Brandon had a custody order. She couldn't see them. And he had an emergency custody order because, they were acting crazy as hell. And so she freaked out. They had to call the police. She actually got ticketed for that. I think a disturbing the peace ticket. And he was right there. Alex was right there driving her around to do that. When they were asking how close she and Alex were, I was thinking, close enough to go pull that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Brandon probably did that in case she got a hold of the kids, because he wasn't trusting her to be safe with their kids at that point.
Oh yeah. No.
Oh, and who knows
They'd
how
already-
long that track had been. That tracking device could have been on her car for quite a while too.
It could have been. And I mean, these people had already tried to kill him, so.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So then we get on Cross. He asks, Pryor asks about Lori going to Hawaii. Melanie says she went for 7 to 10 days. Then he asks this question. He says, do you remember a time when Lori left for a longer period during 2019, 2020? Well, that was clear back in early 2019. I wasn't sure if he was trying to trip her up or if it was just a stupid question. But basically, he was trying to go back to early 2019 when she stepped out on Charles and went to Hawaii for 2 months.
Yeah.
It made absolutely no sense, that question.
It didn't, and Melanie did not understand. She started talking about when Lori and Chad went to Hawaii.
She kind of stalled and went, for 2 months? In October?
Yeah. Well, it was not a clear question at all. Pryor does that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he asks a little bit more about the light and dark stuff and if it talks about light and dark in the scriptures. Melanie says that it does. And perhaps it does, but not at all in the way they were talking about. I mean,
No.
there's no rating system in the scriptures that has anything to do with what Chad was doing. That was kind of
No.
poorly represented. But again,
He
I was
asks
real
everyone that.
uh-huh.
He's asked so many people that question.
I was super worried about her on cross because I figured Pryor might chew her up and spit her out. But Blake was really quick with the objections too. She did a pretty good job, I thought, protecting her. They talk a little bit about Melanie Rowe. They talk about Melanie Gibb. Turns out the Melanies really didn't know each other very well at all. Lori was keeping them actually pretty separate, it looked to me
Yeah.
like. He wanted to know if Melanie Gibb goes to camps to teach people about energy work.
At least he said
camps.
energy work this time instead of, well, he got to vibrations.
Uh-huh.
None of them know what he's talking about when he says that. But he did actually say energy work today, which was a little closer.
Yeah. So he asks her to explain preparing a people, which we've talked about a lot. That was just a organization that was organizing all these different speaking engagements, all these events for people that are preparing for the second coming of Jesus Christ. Mostly a prepper group, as you know. We've talked about it a lot. So yeah, he wants to know about Melanie Gibb and energy work, and if she was going to those camps to teach about energy work. She kind of was like, I guess, I don't know, I didn't go. Then Blake gets back up on redirect. She asks if
He also asked about the 7 gatherers.
Oh, he did. He asked about the 7 gatherers yet again, and guess who didn't have any idea what but he started listing who would the 7 gatherers would have been, which was pretty interesting. Melanie Gibb, Melanie Pawlowski, Lori, Zulema, 7 gatherers. Come on, man. And she's like, yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, that name, I think that's just something Chad made up and said to him.
He was
Really
pretty crestfallen. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So then Blake goes back on redirect, asks if Chad and Lori taught her these things. She said she believes the ideas were from both of them, which is really important. We needed to hear that today, that this wasn't just Lori, this was Chad. Ian did an excellent job of that, but we'll get there.
He really did.
Yep. So then they have a sidebar, and then they talk about, the kids being designated as dark. And basically Blake is like, okay, yet again, she's done this with other people. Was Tylee designated as dark? Yes. Is Tylee still living? No. Was JJ designated as dark? Yes, essentially, he was a zombie. Is he still living? No. Was Charles? Was Tammy? Because yet again, these are the people who died. So then,
those celestial relatives, guys.
Yep. So then here we go with Ian Pawlowski. And we knew this was going to be some good stuff because Ian is part of the reason that this case got cracked. Ian
it is, yeah.
is kind of an unlikely hero. And I'll tell you why. Because Ian had been in trouble with the law earlier in 2019 on some domestic violence charges as his divorce with his previous wife was happening. And I looked at the portal today, and it looks to me like those charges were eventually dropped. But you know who the prosecutor was? Rob Wood. You know the police that were involved? Same guys. So Ian had
It's a very small town.
Some experience with the police just earlier that year. Pretty interesting. So then, as we know, after they got married, after they'd known each other for, what did we determine today? 11 days?
11 days.
And they got married. Yep. On their wedding night, Melanie starts spilling all these ideas out to him. At that point, he had called Chad and Lori to get their permission to marry Melanie.
Think
Yeah.
about that for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he need to ask Chad and Lori? Lori, I kind of understand. Not really, but a little bit more. But I mean, why Chad?
Yeah.
Gross, weird, creepy.
Mhm. And they gave him a blessing to remove any dark entities or dark weapons from him and shielding him with light. So then, of course, he has the Zoom call where he asks for permission to marry her and they get married. So then, yes, the night of their wedding, she's like, so anyway, here's all this crazy bullshit we believe. So now you're in. And he was.
And he stayed. It's fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, interestingly, they had an incident with his daughter because he had his kids with him. And his daughter hid from them in the hotel room for several minutes. And it scared the hell out of him. She was just playing hide and seek and thought she was funny, but it scared the hell out of him. And he started getting worried about these people and who these people are around his kids. Kind of interesting
Yeah.
that he immediately made that connection, but he did.
He sure did. Yeah.
So he goes to the police around December 4th and says, hey, I just married this chick and she's wrapped up in this crazy stuff with these people with these missing kids. So what do you need? And the police said, cool. Here's a listening device. Can you please record some conversations for us? Make sure they're only conversations that you are involved in because
Idaho is a one-party
a one-party state. Yep.
consent state. Yeah.
And so he recorded 9 conversations.
He was a rock star, frankly.
Yeah.
To get that many without getting busted, really good.
He also did something that I don't think they talked about today with a computer.
Yes, he did.
He had written up a whole bunch of this stuff that he had been learning, and he gave the computer to his ex-wife because she needed one and didn't wipe that stuff off of it, and she found it. And I have always felt like he did that on purpose. And she also went to the police.
Yes, she
and
did.
provided even more information to them about what they were learning, about what he was learning. So they get into the recordings. They're a little bit hard to hear. Kristi, I know you've been working on them. It's a tall task because there's a lot of other stuff going on,
Well, they're recordings of recordings, and those always suck. But I think this is better than what we heard in court.
Yeah, so Kristi cleaned them up. We have the first 18 minutes. We don't have all of it today, but we have the first 18 minutes. So
Yeah.
I think it's probably a good spot right now to get out of the way and just let you guys hear it for yourselves.
I think so. So what I did is I took out Ian and Prosecutor Blake. So this is just a continuous 18-minute run of what was shared in court with some cleaned up audio and captions to make it a little easier to see if we can get a little clearer on what they were really saying here.
This was an 84-minute call.
Yeah. I have 2 more parts to edit. So
Yeah.
it's a lot.
So,
What's that?
so when Lucifer attacks,
You guys heard about Dave yesterday?
no,
So she was talking to Dave, and Dave said the reason he wasn't moving forward in their relationship is because he never got a confirmation on zombies. He doesn't believe she was really ordained. And if she was really ordained in 140,000, it would be done with Peter James' brother.
right.
So he's not buying anything. And Gibb said, talk yourself into thinking that the only way to clear her conscience is to call the police and tell them that she knows, which is that she never had JJ, and when she asked who it was, you and I told her that she was better off not knowing.
I said that?
That's what she says.
She threw me under the bus for nothing?
Yes, we were walking in the park.
No, not just you. She's throwing everybody under
She
the
was
bus.
throwing everybody in the bus because she thought the cops would present the Lord, and that was going to clear her conscience with God. Which made she didn't even know what anything is.
Okay,
Okay,
so
hold on. That's Raphael.
you what?
Call us back, so I waited. Okay.
Mama.
Melanie Pawlowski, are you there?
I'm here. I miss you.
I miss you. No. So perfect.
Good to hear your voice.
Your daddy.
We're alive. She'll be able to hear you when she stops sobbing.
Oh, I miss you guys.
Oh, did you lose my baby? Where is he?
I'm here. I'm in the ER tonight. And I'm just
Oh, I had that yesterday too. Yeah.
well,
I
it
was
was
out yesterday. She attacked us all so bad.
well, it was emotional for me yesterday. Like I just missed my kids like nuts. I was bawling in the temple, but horrible. Is he one of the bad ones?
Yeah, him and the Hope are the two bad ones.
I wondered if it was Lieutenant Ball. Lieutenant Ball kept bringing me food and water, and I was like, is he poisoning me? He's like, here's some fresh banana bread. And I was like, I don't know about this banana bread.
He's probably good. The other ones are good.
Hope, you said?
Hope and your guy, your Messina guy, those are the two bad ones.
Yeah, so he has all my stuff. So,
What you know about you?
just that she's not good. She's well, she's doubting and falling because of Dave.
Just that she's gonna go tell the police that she's like,
Yeah, and throw all this under the bus. I don't know, that makes sense. Remember, I always got that thing about her that, yeah, and I was like, so I was just mama bear claws towards you. Like, I was like, yeah, well, the Lord kept saying, like, Melanie, like, you don't trust her, but just let Lori have her, experience with that. And I just keep, doing what I'm doing. And it bothered me because I was like, I want to trust her because you trust her. And I kept getting something else. So it makes sense now, I guess.
it's Dave that's causing the problem.
Yeah. Well, how do you see it going, I guess? Like,
That is bad for her in every way. Because we can't trust her anymore because that for one. For two, it ruins her place with us. But for three, you call the police and you tell them that you're a liar, and then you try to tell them something that's the truth. They're gonna be like, you just said you were a liar.
right,
So I don't know if I trust that at all.
right.
So you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. You call them, tell them that you lied, and then try to tell them the truth.
Right.
So I don't see it going anywhere bad for any of us.
So Julie had said that you guys felt that maybe we should consider going to Idaho Falls for a little while, and we prayed about it and felt like, I don't know, I felt like either one will be fine. Like we're gonna be okay no matter what. So I don't know if there's a better option or a good option, but we kind of just felt like we're okay to stay there. Like that's our home and we're making it just our place of light and it'll be protected. But is there something we need to be aware of or?
My only worry was if they're still watching.
Yeah, but you
Yeah, well, they are. And they're probably tracking my phone and listening in or whatever, but I'm aware we're just doing our own thing and kind of just hanging out together. So we're at my apartment.
Where you're at,
Well, right now we're in Jackson, but we've just been sleeping at my apartment and we're putting the 30 days on his apartment. He lives literally across the street at those other apartments. So,
Dad did find a house that was really cute, $1,500 a month that's there in Rexburg. That might be a good thing. Maybe you want to move.
I mean, if you guys are thinking we need to move, I kind of felt like we were fine, that like, kind of like, pretty much what can they do? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna keep going and going. What can they possibly do?
well, he says he's not gonna stop until, you know, until they get what they want, so I don't know. There's some.
So you need to get out of that complex.
Okay.
Not rush out of it. They're not gonna leave you alone. I just sense the network is pretty deep, and they're gonna see you as the target since you're the only one that they really can find at the moment. For your own sake, for your own sanity, you bet.
Okay.
We know you were led there, and it worked for 2 months for us as we planned. We got together and we found Ian, and now a different phase of your life has begun.
So his kids are in Rexburg and Natalie,
I know. You don't have to move super far away.
just a different city.
Yeah. Madison County, you know, probably.
Well, it's in Rexburg.
I'm not saying you got to decide tonight. The sex complex went from a blessed place to a cursed place due to the
Yeah.
wickedness of the police.
No, we do not expect the police to be that wicked.
Well, and if it is just gonna be a couple weeks, like we could do an Airbnb and just stay in Idaho Falls somewhere. I mean, Ian works there. And that's close enough to where we could go pick up the kids and they wouldn't even know that we're not in Rexburg. But do you feel like a whole physical change of address and moving everything to a new place is what will be best?
They do. To know it's pain. I think they're not gonna leave you alone. So you're out of that city.
Like the Saints in Missouri, I just keep moving and I can't find a safe place.
Even sugar, even like, you know.
So how do you get Aramasio to stop? Cause he's not gonna stop. He's so like raged with this whole thing. He was just pacing, like yelling at me, like he's like, I'm not gonna stop for anything. And how do you resolve that, I guess?
You get out of it. Like,
Okay.
he's not going anywhere. It's like the standard story where the wicked stay in one place and the righteous flee. In this case, it's not a whole community, it's you. You went in, fleeing out of the way of darkness. Like Lehi had to leave Jerusalem. I don't expect this to go on and on, but move every 2 weeks. Maybe get on Zillow or whatever website and just investigate a little bit.
I saw a cute little house for sale in Ashton's further from your work. So probably
40 minutes.
Probably Idaho Falls will be the best. That'll be your coastal area. But isn't Rexburg like the place of safety when all things happen?
Yeah, but there's been lots of prophecies about major turmoil there. The plague's gonna sweep through Rexburg. Civil unrest. I had a vision of Second East where McDonald's is and everything. Just chaos, people starving, fighting. So there is still a stretch of bad times coming to Rexburg before City of Light. So we had to kind of pave the way, and we were told to flee.
Mostly because of it's because of agency, right? We were all told to go there and that was where we were supposed to stay. And because of the agency of the dark and because Lucifer is able to negotiate terms still to this day about eternal law, he's been allowed to do certain things that had to force us out with the police. We had no idea the police were infiltrated with such dark people in Rexburg itself proper. So we
Makes sense in retrospect, but you don't think that immediately that little Rexburg would be planted with Cain's translated followers, but that makes
it's
sense.
because of so many light multi-creations being there. And of course, the dark ones are there too. So opposition in all things. So we just feel like it's time to, just because of the situation, not be there for a season.
Yeah.
You don't have to go far, but just get out of their line of sight. For your own sanity. And for Ian to be able to go to work and feel like you're okay there by yourself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it just feels that way. It just feels kind of eerie when Ian's not there. I just don't want to be there by myself.
Right. I mean, you've done everything to decorate that place so cute, do everything so adorable, but
I'm just looking on Idaho Falls rentals on Trulia. There's several that are just as good as your apartment there. Little houses, decent sized houses
yeah, that was really,
for about the same price.
that's really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll go wherever. I'll live in a dumpster with Ian. 'Cause he's so amazing, so.
But Idaho Falls is pretty good price in terms of rentals. Especially this time of year, you should be able to find a nice one.
Okay.
I hate to say that, but it's just pounding me that you need to get out of that city.
Okay.
You did great, babe. You did great with
Oh, we love it. So amazing.
Yeah,
Grateful for you.
he wanted to know, who I went to Arizona with, so I just said, well, I drove with Ian and, yeah, I mean, he.
Okay.
Well,
Well, that was a lot. Really, really a lot.
yes. So, Melanie was missing her kids. Lori was clearly not missing hers, except for Melanie.
No.
Did you hear her say the mama bear claws came out, to protect
Yes.
Melanie?
Well, and how's my baby?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Melanie is a full-grown adult at this point, is on her second marriage, and she has 5 children with Brandon Boudreaux.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Creepy as hell.
Very weird. Yep. So, obviously, they really wanted them to leave town. And
Because, there have been a lot of prophecies about some real bad deeds going down at the McDonald's. That part just killed me. Are you kidding me?
the plague is coming through Rexburg. Watch out for that plague. Well, COVID did happen, so I'm going to give Chad that much credit. And
I guess, yeah.
We were really super terrible about COVID here because
Yeah.
nobody thought they should have to do anything to protect themselves or anyone else. It was actually a super scary time for us because we have immune system disorders and really couldn't be getting exposed to that. But there was a lot of staying home. But
there sure was.
Anyhow, so we did get the plague actually. It was really bad here. Like we had nationally bad numbers per capita.
Well, yeah, we were right at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Like per capita. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the riots at the McDonald's have not happened yet. So I don't know. I'm watching.
I don't know. I mean, the kids did get in some trouble in the old Kmart parking lot where there was a McDonald's there a few times, some teenagers, but I don't think that's what he meant.
That's true. Well, and there was a fight with BYU Idaho about McDonald's because we got a new McDonald's a few years ago and it's just off of campus, a little ways off campus. And they're a 24/7 McDonald's. Well, the BYU Idaho students have a curfew that is strictly enforced, and a bunch of them were blowing off their curfew and hanging out at McDonald's all night. So the college's solution was to try to force McDonald's to close at
Yeah.
curfew. And McDonald's said, nah, we don't have to. And it was quite the uproar. But anyway, I digress.
Right. Yeah.
This is just what it's like to live in Rexburg. But
Yeah. The stupid fights that happen in that community, well, in mine in Idaho Falls as well, you would just die to know, really.
well, it's true, Alicia. If McDonald's would just keep their damn ice cream machines running, none of this would have happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think McDonald's was like, we are making a ton of money off these dumb college kids all night.
Mhm.
Get away. I know, and
Right.
Idaho Falls was out of the day. I'm like, that's where I live. Get away from my town. It's bad enough
Right.
here. We don't need any more bullshit.
You're getting them. We've had enough.
Right?
Yeah. So, they just really wanted them to move really super duper bad. And of course, the police. So very terrible and bad, particularly Hermosillo.
Yeah.
And later, here's the thing that bothers me about this. That AVOW group is super racist. They're
Oh,
like white nationalist
disgustingly.
racist.
Yes.
And horrifically anti-LGBTQ. They're all the things.
Yeah.
And
They hate everyone.
when they keep yelling that Hermosillo is a descendant or not, what are they saying? Not a descendant of. Anyway, involved with Cain.
Cain's translated beings.
Cain's translated being. Okay. Here's
No,
what really
beings,
bothers
yeah.
me about that. This idea that Black people couldn't hold the priesthood in the LDS church clear until the 70s because they believed that Black people bore the mark of Cain.
Yeah.
And were unclean and unable to enter the temple. Well,
And less than. Does that sound familiar?
People with dark skin. Well, Hermosillo is Hispanic. And it really bothers me that they keep calling him this disciple or descendant of Cain.
Yeah.
They never say it's because of his skin color. I'll be very transparent about that, but it bothers me because of his skin color that that's
Yes.
what they were insinuating.
That it-
And that's why he
racist
was the
as
super
hell.
duper baddie, Do I think Chad could be racist? Oh, hell yeah, I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure he is.
Because of the groups he was in. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was in AVO.
Yep. It really bothers me. But later in the conversation, throughout all of these recordings, they start saying there was some saying at some point that Hermosillo was harassing Melanie Pawlowski. She says that he was yelling and screaming at her and telling her that he wasn't going to stop. And this was on cross, and Pryor was being, really aggressive about it. And I'm like, yet again, you're up here really displaying to the jury that you're pissed off that Hermosillo did his job and that the kids were found.
Yeah.
You're
Of course, he
mad.
wasn't going to let up. There were missing children.
Yeah.
Why the hell would he let up?
You're mad that they found missing, murdered children. I mean, let that sink in. And I think that's exactly what the jury is hearing. It's just in the same way that he was super, super, super mad that Tammy was exhumed. It's the same vein, the same sound. And now, before anyone gets upset, let me be really clear. I'm not saying that Mormons are racist. I am not saying that all Mormons are racist. I'm not saying anything like that at all. I'm talking about the mark of Cain, their belief about Cain, clear up until like the 70s when they started letting Black people come into the temple. That's what I'm talking about. So please don't send me an email. I am not saying that all Mormons are, you want to sit on your fingers.
But the Mormon Church has a long history of racism
They
that
do.
is still very much in their doctrine.
Absolutely. We're not
It's in
saying
their
that all
scriptures.
members are racist. We're not making any assertions, but these things are true. These things are historically factual. So let's just be clear about that.
And our experience growing up as Mormons in Rexburg, Idaho, was that most people were extremely racist.
Yeah.
And most people were also Mormon. So it is our experience.
Yeah. Yep. It is what it is. Yep. 1978. Thank you, Jamie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's when black men got the priesthood.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just a little aside to that. The whole Caden thing with Hermosillo, it just bothers me in that way. But anyway, so yeah, apparently Hermosillo was harassing Melanie. He was not. He was doing his job. He was
Yeah.
finding missing children. We can't say that
Yeah.
loud enough and long enough. It kills me that he keeps saying that.
It's ridiculous.
And what do you think the jury is hearing?
Right. That these people hated the police for trying to find their dead children.
Yep. 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 Exactly. At one point, Melanie says in one of the tapes that she went and withdrew $50,000 because she was led to believe that her money was not safe, thanks to Chad. Chad was going out of his way to make sure people felt very discombobulated and unsafe. Everything about what was going on with them was unsafe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there were the secret combinations. There were the he kind of made it sound like it's some like cabal dark or
Yeah.
conspiracy theory kind of thing
Deep
with the
state kind of
police, the
shit.
deep state kind of thing. Yeah. All of that. Yep. So they do a blessing. And we'll get all of these done here in the next day or two.
Oh yeah.
The
I've got
blessing.
the first blessing all pulled out. I just have to edit the audio and add the captions, but I already have it.
Dear
'Cause
God,
it's
the
some
group blessing that they
bullshit.
give. Holy cow. That Chad and Lori give. They both speak
Well,
in
that's
this
the
one.
second one. There are two.
That's right. The first one that
And-
just Chad gives. Whew.
Ugh, it's bonkers as hell, you guys.
Yeah. And it's basically, I don't even know what the blessing was for, to be honest. He was promising Brandon that Ian, he is a very strong man. Basically what
Mhm.
they were laying out is all of us, we're really super duper special. And we have a job here to cleanse the earth of those who aren't.
Yeah.
It's pretty freaking creepy the way he laid that out, the way he was talking about that, our job is to cleanse the earth, cleanse and purify the earth. And when it was pressed on that, it sounded a lot like they were saying that they needed to be getting rid of the people who weren't pure on this planet.
Sure did.
That I thought sounded pretty terrifying.
Well, and some crazy shit about how Satan can negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There were talk that the Lord told Lori and Chad that they had to flee. Isn't that weird? What a weird coincidence. You think
Right?
about this. The same day that the police came by looking for the dead children, the Lord said it's time for you to flee. That's smart, Lord.
Wow. Amazing. You got it right at the same timeline as the cops.
Mm-hmm. But as you notice, this is Chad. We're not talking about Lori. We're talking about Chad. We're
We
talking
heard a
about
lot of
Chad.
Chad talking.
We're hearing all the shit Chad's saying. We're hearing all the prophecies of Chad, all of the admonitions of Chad, the blessings of Chad. Chad. Not
Yeah.
Lori, Chad. So last week with Heather lining out all of this stuff that Chad was already saying well pre-Lori, and
Yeah.
all of this today, it really shoots any idea out of the water that all of this stuff was coming from Lori or that evil Melanie Gibb.
Yes. Well, and how they referred to Melanie as Gib. They called
Yes,
her Gib,
they called her Gib
and David
and Zuli.
and Zuli. Mm-hmm.
I hadn't heard that before. But
Yeah, I hadn't heard that before either.
yeah. And of course, yeah, Chad being dad.
I think what I'm going to do with the rest of the phone call is I'm going to split it up into smaller bites topically,
Mm-hmm.
to make it easier to listen to, because it's so much and it covers so many things. And yes, there is new information in here, and
Mm-hmm.
there is confirmation of things that have been suspected in here.
Yeah.
These phone calls are extremely important.
Oh, and extremely damning. When Melanie was on the stand, Chad stared her down.
Oh yeah,
He was giving her the intimidating, authoritarian look the whole
the
time
death
she was on the
look.
stand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, not sweet Melanie, right? Yeah. One of the things that he said, and one of the blessings that really got me, was telling these two that they are a power couple. He said, "Your union will be looked upon as a true love story of happiness and how to treat one another." Uh-huh.
Yeah,
He
okay.
said, "The Savior was standing here with him, and he is very pleased." He included Alex and Zulima in the blessing, and he said, "The 6 of us are on the right track. I assure you of that. I give you my testimony. This is a power team. We are the genesis of the 144,000. We don't say that boastfully. It just is." Okay, Jan.
Right.
Cool. Yeah.
Blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem real important right now while you're been sitting in jail for nearly 4 years and on trial for murder. You seem soups important.
Mm-hmm.
You're a real light to the world, buddy.
Mm-hmm. He also told Ian and Melanie, this is new, that he was blessing them with unlimited potential to be utilized by the Lord. He told them they will team up with Mother Earth to cleanse the earth with earthquakes, moving mountains, changing rivers, and healing the hearts of mankind. So they could also cause earthquakes? Them and Zulima? Wow.
Yeah. Yikes. And just to clarify, no, I don't have the calls. I just have what's in court. There's just a lot more of it to edit. And
Mhm.
I'm not even, we may not even be done with them because they have been admitted into evidence, which means that they couldn't be used again.
Yeah.
But I'm going to cut them up to be more, just topical pieces,
Mhm.
just to make them a little easier to listen to. I'm going to put them up on our YouTube channel and our podcast all separately. And then,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe just throughout the week, we can pick one each show to talk about, because it's so much.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because, yeah, we got to listen to those blessings. They are crazy.
At one point, Chad says, and everyone's sobbing and crying, and Chad says, "I am with you. Fear not. You can now move forward and continue your mission."
Yeah, I don't feel any better about that.
Whew, we don't. Rom said, "If Chad talks to the inmates like that, they will beat that BS out of him in no time."
Correct. They will.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. So I don't even want to go through all the blessings completely, because you'll be able to listen to them, and it's
Yeah, we'll
just.
listen to them and talk about them.
But the one thing that Melanie said that really grabbed me, talking with Lori in one of the calls about whether they're going to go to Arizona or not, and Lori said she doesn't know. Melanie says she doesn't want Brandon to know that Alex has died because she wants him to be in fear of Al for the rest of his life. Tell me she didn't know that Alex tried to kill Brandon. Tell
Right.
me that when you hear that.
Right.
She wants Brandon to be in fear of Al for the rest of his life and doesn't want him to know that Alex is dead.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yikes.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, if that isn't an admission, I don't know what is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Ian said it was pretty common for Chad to offer a blessing anytime that they spoke, which is weird. I mean, Mormons
Very.
do give a lot of blessings. Mormon men give a lot of blessings. Mormon women don't give blessings, but not that often.
Do
Not every time they
around
talk.
illness or a loss or a tragedy of
Yeah,
some sort. Like it's not a all the time thing.
no, and not these in this big weird. Not what they're doing at all. No. A lot of you guys have wondered if they are still married. Ian and Melanie, they are. They have 2 children together, and then they both have children with exes as well.
Yeah. And yes, you're right. Melanie, her subpoena lasted through the end of court today so
Yeah.
that she could not speak to Ian
Mm-hmm.
or watch his testimony.
Yep. So Ian did also say he is no longer religious.
I know. I was surprised by that. That's
Mm-hmm.
new.
Oh, that was pretty interesting. I totally understand that, but yeah, Chad kind of ruined the church for these guys.
Yeah.
Or the church ruined themselves for these guys, but at any rate, one interesting thing, they were using code words.
Yes.
So the term pretty bird was used if it wasn't safe to call or use cell phones. Not happy Bob meant it was safe. Melanie wanted new phrases. Jamie Powell if it was safe to call. And Daddy we're down if it's not safe to call.
What? Who is Jamie Powell, first of all?
Yeah.
And
And
Daddy, we're
for
down.
fuck's sake, more of this.
More of that creepy shit.
Mhm. Yep. And they were using these if they thought it wasn't safe, if they thought their calls were being tracked. How would they know? Was this just Chad letting them know?
Yeah.
If he decided that, Kane's little minions were listening to their calls or something?
Right. Yeah,
They
yeah.
were. Thanks, Ian.
Yes, they sure were. I know. The whole time they're talking about that and saying all that stuff about the police, and I'm thinking the whole time Ian's working for the cops. I think it's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah. Chad told Ian, if you ever need to talk to Dad, I'm here. Ian was like, yeah, you're not my dad. So
Right? So weird.
very weird. They want to leave town at that point, and Melanie's scared to fly. She doesn't think it's safe. Probably because she thinks she's going to get arrested in the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So then, of course, the whole Garrett Smith incident happens. Then they talk a little bit more. So Melanie, of course, they met on an LDS dating site. I believe it was Mutual, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. So the site is called Mutual because when we were kids, the youth groups that you would attend were called Mutual.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that's why it's called Mutual, but
I'm sure it
anyway.
is, yeah. Weird.
Oh, Elle says Jamie Powell is the eldest of the Powell siblings on the sitcom Charles in Charge. Oh, I wonder if that was why.
Or if it's some other weird reason. I do not know. That was very, very odd.
So prior
Well,
on
thank you,
Cross.
Leslie.
Yeah. So prior on Cross, they talk about when Melanie Gibb went to the police, talking about, that, the police aren't going to believe Melanie because Melanie's going to the police to tell them that she's a liar. So we're cool here. It's all good.
Oh, yeah. They were like, she's only 10% now. At this point, it's only 10%. She's going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys suck at predicting things.
Mhm. Yeah. So then Pryor asks about the 144,000. He tries to nail Ian down about, but Chad just thought he was a part of the group, right? And he's like, no. Well, there was a whole bunch of objections here, and Pryor just kept asking the same question over and over.
Mhm.
And the prosecution just keeps objecting, and finally he kind of gets a roundabout way to get there. But basically he's saying Chad didn't actually think he was the leader. He just thought he was like a part of it. And Ian's like, yeah, no, he thought he was the leader.
Yeah, he was not buying that at all.
And he's like, no, but he didn't think he was the leader, right? And Ian's like, yeah, no, he did. He really did.
He totally
Okay,
did.
but so what you're saying is he didn't think he was the leader, right? And Ian's like, he was freaking leader. What are you talking about?
Right.
That went on too long.
It did. Just stupid as usual.
Yeah. Then they talk about the three kingdoms in LDS theology. We've been through this several times: the telestial, terrestrial, and celestial. He
Thank you,
starts
Journey.
asking him quite a bit about like Mormon theology, and there were a lot of objections to this, and most of the objections stood because it was kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Typical prior wasting time stuff.
Well, and trying to get him to say that that the police were harassing Melanie.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he
Oh, yeah.
did say that, yes, they
Mhm.
were.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Good. He should. He did say that right before Alex died that Chad said there was going to be a very powerful spiritual attack. I don't think Pryor wanted to hear that.
no.
And they talk about the vibration stuff a little bit and the lengthy blessings. And he talks to him about Alex and whether or not he thinks that he's the one that took shots at Brandon, and he says he absolutely is.
Hmm.
Then, of course, yes, they talk about Hermosillo and the supposed harassment of Melanie. And then they talk at the very end. He starts trying to nail him down about who was prophesizing these things or who was coming up with this stuff. He asked him 3 questions in succession about it. And every time Ian says it was Chad and Lori. No, yeah, it was Chad and Lori. Still, yes, Chad and Lori. 3 times. Chad and Lori.
Really great.
It was Chad and Lori. And also Chad and Lori. He said Chad's name so many times today. I was
He did.
so impressed with that because that's exactly what we need to hear. Say Chad. Say it often. Say it loud because that's what the jury needs to hear.
Yeah.
Because he wants so badly to try and make it look like someone else came up with this stupid shit and Chad was just some idiot that got roped into it that didn't know anything. And that just couldn't be further from the truth.
No, he's the idiot that came up with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the last few days that has gotten across multiple times to the jury, which really does make me very happy.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty much today. But I want to share some pieces of an email that we received over the weekend because
Yes.
you guys want to hear it.
You
A
do.
lovely listener who attended court last week shared a few insights with us. I probably won't share them all with you, but she shared some stuff that I thought I think you guys want to hear it. First of all, when she was in line, she was standing next to a person who had flown in from Houston who was there because she's a big John Pryor fan. What?
Was
I
she
mean,
drunk by chance?
and apparently had been in line since like 3:30 a.m. There's no reason to be. You can walk into the courtroom. Like there's no
Yeah.
line. That you don't have to do that. But this person flew from Houston to come and see the master at work. What?
I'm terrified, man. I am. Maybe that's the super hot, beautiful girlfriend. Maybe this has been a distance relationship. She just came to town so they could meet for the first time. Oh, gross.
I'm sitting behind you right now. Oh, God.
Yeah. Ugh. Yikes.
All right. Some of you wanted to know if Agent Balance was hot because we weren't allowed to see his face. She says not really. She said late 40s, tall, dark-haired, slim, pretty nondescript, not super hot, not as hot as George Boyce. So,
who knew? Although I still think Balance has a pretty hot brain.
Oh yeah,
we'll
take him for his brain all day. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She said she sat 20 feet from Chad. She said he looked her in the eye twice. She said, I always thought I would recognize evil if I saw it. But had I seen Chad on the street, I had not known anything about him, I probably would have smiled and said hi. And that was a terrifying thought.
Guys, most psychopaths blend right in.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them have jobs and they have spouses and children and live what appear to be normal lives. We think we know what evil it looks like, but we don't.
No. One time after Lori was back, before the kids were found, sometime in that period, My youngest daughter and her best friend were driving down the road and they encountered Chad at a stoplight. These two called me screaming, "We're sitting at a stoplight next to Chad Daybell. What do we do?" I'm like, "Drive home." Like, what do you mean? What do you do?
Nothing.
"Yeah, but it's Chad." I'm like, yeah, Chad sucks, but I don't know what to say to you right now. But they were like shook. They got home and they were super shaken up about it. Like, they didn't want to be on the road with Chad Daybell, right? Well, yeah.
He's a pretty standard looking white guy, pretty standard looking Mormon guy. Really? I mean,
yeah. Let's see. Also, she said that she and Pryor met eyes often, and he gave her the creeps. And if she saw him, she would definitely cross the street.
was it his attempt at smiling?
Oh, probably.
Is this?
Oh, the smile
this
is the
what-
worst.
Is this how you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Am I smiling now? Am I smiling now?
Mhm.
Yeah. Then she said that, now this was very interesting. She said Chad never once looked at Tammy's autopsy pictures. She said he was looking at a legal document and just scrolling up and down on a computer on it, not looking at the autopsy photos at all.
Of course not.
She also said there was a juror who refuses to look at Pryor. And when the prosecution is speaking, he's looking right at the prosecutor or at the podium and paying attention. But when Pryor is speaking, he looks away and sometimes even puts his hand up.
I love it. Probably just trying to mute the sound.
I guess he's had enough. Pryor did come in carrying Chad's dry cleaning. We've heard that from other people too. She said the ME from Utah was absolutely fantastic. Unflappable. She said when he said the words asphyxia and homicide, you could hear a pin drop in the room.
I'll bet.
Now, this bit about Pryor's investigator sent me. My husband laughed so hard about this, he about wrecked us.
It was so funny too.
She was sitting right behind one day Pryor's investigator. And Pryor's investigator spent a whole hour online on their device shopping for wood laminate and a wood saw.
He was doing a lot of investigating during this trial. He was super busy.
Listen,
investigating
he
flooring.
Pulled up and viewed each color. He had a $10 off coupon and free shipping and paid $183.74.
Listener, you are a hero for all of us.
I'm talking about expert level here. The fact that she had the dollar amount down to the pennies.
That's hilarious.
Hilarious. All righty.
Oh, sorry.
So I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. I did.
That was
pretty great.
Awesome.
Right. She must have an eagle eye. Absolutely. That was some great paying attention there. I guess the investigator couldn't feel those eyes boring through the back of their head.
Not much of an investigator.
So, listener, we all thank you because that was a fantastic synopsis. We love every second of it.
Oh, Elle wants that deal. You want the deal on the flooring? I don't know. I don't know what the website was, but
she needs that $10 off coupon. Damn it! Hilarious. So that's how interesting it was to the,
to the
investigator.
Oh my gosh!
Whatever you're paying them, Pryor, you're paying too much.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. Did we cover it?
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot more to go through in those calls, but we'll get there because it's just we'll break it up because it's a lot to process.
Oh, Adair, good question. Lori and Chad knew each other less than a year, I think, and started this rampage. I know Chad's a bad guy, but did he just start murdering when he met Lori? To the best of our knowledge, there was a scandal with Chad in high school where someone died. And we haven't really brought that up in this trial, but I was actually, Adair, thank you, because I was actually thinking this morning about pulling up some details on that. I would not say Chad's actually implicated in it. What I would say is
No, he
Chad's
was
way
cleared.
too comfortable with dead people.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't show Garrett being escorted out of the courtroom. I don't think we have that, do we? Is there footage
Yeah,
of that? There probably is in the background.
there is. Yeah, I'll dig it up.
We'll have to pull it up. Yeah. So and it's too long of a story for tonight. I'm sure everybody else has recorded or reported on that too, but I'll get the details together for you. But yes, there was a girl that died. It was a girl in high school that Chad was cleared, but he was friends with the people that were involved in it, and like it was.
And he
a
was
thing.
questioned.
And he was questioned. Yep. Yep. Very weird. Yeah. So if you would like to tip us or support us, you can go to truecrimesquad.com. There's several ways there to support us, and we appreciate every bit of that. And if not, that's okay too. We're here for
Well,
it. This is-
including Katie's Etsy store and my Instagram store are now linked there, just to make it easier. It's just truecrimesquad.com for everything.
Yeah, it's all there. Yep. So that's how to find it, how to do it. We'll be back here in just 12 and a half hours for round 24.
Yes, we will.
It's coming. I think tomorrow is going to be a hell of an interesting day. We have a brand new witness on the stand. Nobody knows who it is, but they said they will be lengthy.
Is it Julie Rowe?
Is it Julie Rowe?
Is it Zulema?
Is it?
I mean,
are they going to break it up and throw some law enforcement in again?
Right.
We don't know.
It's tough to say.
Yep. All righty. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Definitely like, share, follow. Those things help us a lot. We appreciate it very much. And we'll see you tomorrow morning on the live for just a little bit more. Thanks so much, guys. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.